You start off right away. Say something right away. You take care of it. Tell them what happened.
Good evening, Dumb Nation. I apologize for us being late.
You should.
It's my fault.
You should.
And it's not because I'm a bad person and I'm untimely. It's because Matthew over there does not feel good and he was taking a nap and I did not wake him when I got home. So he slept till 6:15.
This is all true.
I thought that I was going to be able to convince him to take the evening off because he doesn't feel good, but did not happen. So here we are, just a little late.
Pity tips, folks. Pity tips. That's what this means. I'm here and you didn't let me rest. It's all of your faults. Sorry we're late. We hate being late. We don't like it. And what the funny thing is Olivia was looking for the photograph of our set. And what did you find?
I'd already been back to my pictures in August in my phone, and I still couldn't find the darn thing, which means you don't take nights off.
Not anymore. I think we kind of realized that taking nights off was bad for business. So welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me show. We have a good show for you tonight. I'm feeling much better with a good sleep. I think my captain is going to be back playing for the Avs tonight, so we're pretty excited for that. Pete Hegseth Standards. Michael Rappaport speaks out. Someone I've disagreed with on this show many times, but I really like what he said. Jasmine Crockett is woke. What a shocker. Baseball nightmare or hero. Kind of a fun story. And what is the church doing? We're going to talk about that. Jordan Peterson is still the greatest of all time. 6th grade student victimized. Holy tornado in Texas. Flags for DC. And overtime unhinged and viewer submission. Be right back.
Adjusting transmitter output.
That was fast.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, and Olivia. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on all major social media channels at The Dumb Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.
Why are you making?
Tell Facebook is going to be a peach to deal with.
Yeah,
tonight.
I was thinking you're making resting poo-poo face. What's going on over there?
It's freaking slow.
Oh, it is slow. It was slow earlier too.
Oh my gosh. I tried to hit the like button and it takes like 30 seconds for the whole line to pop up because I always hit the heart. And then I tried to repost and it took a minute to load the page to hit post.
You're going to be okay.
It's going to be awesome.
You're going to be okay. Matt Howie says, Matt, how loud is the arena going to be when he hits the ice? It's going to be the loudest any arena's ever been in the history of the NHL. Minus
Gretzky, or not Gretzky, minus Ovi scoring.
No, it won't be louder than that. It'll be louder than that. Colorado is already like one of the top 7 loudest arenas in hockey. It's got incredible fans. The thin air, it happens inside the stadium too, of course. You can't escape thin air. It makes for a deafening and loud stadium. And if you've never been into the Colorado Avalanche Stadium in the Pepsi Center or McNichols Arena, they are deafening. And if you've ever been to a Broncos game, it's the same thing. You can hear the Broncos 5 miles away on game day.
Yes, you can.
And it's incredible. I mean, you can be on the other end of Lodo and you can hear the entire game. It's insane. So I believe this will be the loudest a stadium's ever been. I think it's going to be 180 decibels plus, which is essentially a shotgun going off. It is going to be deafening when he comes on the ice because the entire town is connected to this guy. And his comeback story is amazing. And I got goosebumps talking about it. And nobody hates Gabe Landeskog. Everybody loves Gabe. He's just a good dude, and he's just he's like Joe Sakic. He's one of the captains you respect. There's an interesting, did you ever hear this story, honey? When Bob Probert was coming into the league for Detroit Red Wings, and he was sitting next to, Brett Hull. And Brett Hull, this is when Brett Hull was traded to the Red Wings and he left the Coyotes and the St. Louis Blues. And it was Brett Hull and Bob Probert. Rob Probert was just the guy who just was the scratcher and grinder and would always fight everybody. And it was just like the fisticuffs guy. Yeah. And I think it was Proby. It might have been somebody else, but somebody will correct me. Anyway, so they're sitting on the ice and Joe Sakic, they're doing, first period and they're skating by the opposite side bench because they had last change. Are you listening to me, hon?
I am listening to you.
Okay, so just hold on a second. I'm telling you a story. And you're going to be like, I'm sorry, I don't remember that.
I'm listening.
Okay, so Bob Probert is sitting there. He's his rookie year. And Brett Hull is at the tail end of his career, one of the greatest to ever play, et cetera. His father played, as you know. So Sakic is probably in year, 15, 16 of his career. And this was, after the 1995 Cup, after 2001 Cup. And Joe just skates by. He has last change on bench, so he goes by the Red Wings bench. And Probert is just like, hey, Sakic, you fruitcake, nice hair, flock of seagull, and starts. And all of a sudden, Probert feels somebody dog collars him and yanks him back in his seat and sits him down. And it was Brett Hull. And Brett grabs him right by the sweater and pulls him forward. And he says, you don't talk to Mr. Sakic. Ever. Now shut up, sit there, and get ready for your next shift. And he lets him go. And Bob tells this story, and you're just like, that was the level of respect that Joe Sakic had in the league. And
I've never heard that.
Yep. And Brett Hull, not one of our favorite people in the world, but just an amazing story. I think it was Proby. It doesn't matter. But the point is, that's the kind of respect that Gabe Landeskog has. Certainly not the player that he was, but absolutely. All right, sorry. I wanted to tell you that because I know you never heard that story, and I know you would enjoy it.
But anytime it's hockey, I will hear it no matter what I'm doing.
Yeah. So welcome to the show. Obviously, big night for us. It's Game 3, Dallas. We're really pumped up for this, and we're going to bring you a good show, and then get out of here by 9:30, so we can go see this. Our son is going to be stoked. We got to see him on the ice and warm up, but he didn't play the other night, so this will officially be his first. Let's see real quick. Hold on. See if I can find this real quick. People are still logging on, so yes. we're actually going to be trying to find this. Haley, why don't you talk about May 16th?
May 16th is our big event, our big show. One of our longtime listeners has promised to match donations up to $10,000.
Mr. Chuck Peterson.
Yes. So it could be a possible $20,000 night where we will be donating some money to, I can't remember the name of the cause.
14th Hour Foundation.
14th Hour, yes. It used to be Travis Manion, but 14th
Hour.
No,
we're still giving donations to Travis Manion 10%, but that night we're going to be helping out the 14th Hour Foundation.
Okay.
Sorry.
And it's going to be helping us get us a new in-home studio.
Yep.
With all the upgrades.
See, James just said, hey, when's the big show? May 16th. It's going to be 6 o'clock. We might be having to add more hours. I think we're almost all booked up. Here is that video real quick, Liv, just to kind of let people see it. It was Sean Avery, not Bobby Probert. That's right. Bob, nobody told Bob what to do. Bob was a powerhouse. Here it is. Change the speakers over real quick. Here we go. All right.
Had an unbelievable player, captain, winner, Joe Sakic. I'm on the bench. Sakic is in front of me lining up for a face-off. And I lean over the bench and I just start mother him about this he wore into the game because I saw him walk in. And all of a sudden I feel my jersey pull, like really pull me like my dad was pulling me. yanked me down on the bench beside me, and it was Brett Hall, who I lived in his garage. Brett Hall's one of the greatest players of all time. He kind of looked over at me and said, "You will not speak to Mr. Sakic in that way." And I was like, "Okay, Hully, got it." So I never said anything. From that moment on, I never said a word to Joe Sakic.
He was off limits.
He was off limits. He was anointed off limits by someone who, when he put that on, you were like, okay. Because Holly would not say that about too many people. I could crack it.
Just a cool story. It's okay. It's Pedersen. Peterson. Okay, but it doesn't look like Peterson. It looks like Peterson. So if I say it one way, you say tomato, I say tomato. I had a 50-50 shot and I was on the under. Okay, but you never corrected me before, so you don't get to get all freaking capital letters and geez. No, I apologize. It's okay. So moving on, just a good story, something to feel good. And so it's going to be a big night. It's going to be loud. It's going to be insane. Colorado is one of the best sports towns in the United States. And this is from someone who's been to quite a few hockey arenas and experienced the game for quite a long time. Colorado is intense.
Yes.
It's loud and they love their hockey. All right. So we got to get into this right away. Liv, thanks for making the mention. TheDumbShow.com/donate, folks. We are funded 100% by you. Facebook took away our funding, and without you, we don't keep the show on. And you're probably wondering why this is taking so long to get started. It's because it took a long time to get started tonight. So we're going to go right into what we're going to talk about. Let's get into the first topic. Liv, are you ready?
Yes.
Great. Pete Hegseth is in the news again. Now, if it isn't for the philandering, if it isn't for the Signals app, if it isn't the drinking, if it isn't that his hair has too much tonic in it, they can't stand him. But I promise you this, if this guy was on the left, they would
love him.
He would be a Gavin Newsom part 2, who actually isn't a coward little sus soy boy. Pete is a warrior's warrior. He is amazing. And you know what? I can understand why people might be criticizing him a little bit for the Signals app thing. I personally understand how this works, and I'm not too concerned about it. And if I'm not too concerned about it, you probably shouldn't be too concerned about it either. But they are now coming after him again, and he is now going after fat people in the military. And you know what? Good. Because if you're fat, you shouldn't be in the military. I said it. If you have to get a chit or an exception for your PT test, you should you go to Fat Boys Camp. Okay? And if you don't, within 90 days, can't pass PT, you're discharged. Honorably, but you're discharged. You're out of here. It's not hard. Because I don't want fat people in the military. First of all, the military equipment isn't designed for fat people, whether it's a tank or an airplane or in a birthing unit. It's not designed for fat people. Second, it's not conducive to a warrior's mentality, being fat and out of shape. It's just not there. So Pete Hegseth is now getting, and these people obviously who are upset have never been in the military. And this is one of the big issues with this whole thing. Here it is.
Troops fighting in the unit that many of you will lead are capable, truly physically capable of doing what is necessary under fire. They need to be fit.
Is there a video?
Not fat.
Yeah, I'm trying to get everything tuned in. So
Got it.
remember, we didn't do sound check, so
Yeah.
everything's all effed up tonight. So yes, there is a video. That was passive aggressive, by the way. You always told me to tell you. The best. How could you have said that to me differently?
Well, there's been a couple times where it hasn't been a video.
I know,
so
and you
I'm
always do the
just
same
asking.
thing. I'm just remember the breakfast with the lady. How could you have said that differently?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to make a joke.
Got
obviously.
it.
Right
Sorry,
on.
I was reading a comment about something.
Okay.
Troops fighting in the unit that many of you will lead are capable, truly physically capable of doing what is necessary under fire. They need to be fit, not fat. Sharp, not shabby. Especially our leaders. And that's why we're reviewing how the department has maintained standards in the past, especially the last 4 years, and whether those standards have dropped, formally or informally. Troops.
Wow. So quick story. Chuck Peterson is not correct. Peterson. I got to put it in the brain box. Peterson. Liv, don't ever let me say it again.
Peterson.
If I make that mistake, you just whoosh, you just break that whip
Got
out.
it.
And you can break the whip out anyway, but
It's true.
so I wanted to go back in. And after I broke my body and broke my back and 100 other things, I just wasn't physically capable to do it. And I couldn't perform to the standard that I wanted to anymore. So that was it. My career's over. And yeah, sure, it would have been nice to get a waiver. And I tried the writing the desk thing for a while. I hated it. I went back to the normal Intel job description and I despised it. And to me, it was like being at Disneyland and then having to go to a Safeway and jump on the penny ride and rock back and forth in perpetuity. And I was just like, screw this. I can't, this is boring. I can't do it. So I got out of it and I left and I wanted to stay, but that's a decision you have to make. And if you are fat and you're not capable of living the warrior's ethos, then you have no reason being in the military. Yeah, same thing happens for firemen and police officers. Exactly.
You know, the left is going to call retaliation on Hegseth against the chick that turned Donald Trump and JD Vance's pictures around.
That's of course, yeah, that's exactly
that's what they're going to call. But
right, but here's the thing. No offense, those people need to lose weight too. America needs to lose weight. Listen, I'm not some spring chicken, but I'll put myself against pretty much any other 51-year-old out there as far as physical fitness. I'm not saying that I could go and there's plenty of people who would destroy me at 51 years old. But my point is the average everyday Joe probably can't bench what I bench. They can't run what I can run. They can't lift what I can lift. They don't have my stamina. I'm pretty confident.
I got stamina. Sorry, I heard that song this morning.
How can you not hear that song and then it play in your head for a month? Because it's literally just, okay, chick, you got stamina. We got it. Okay. Jeez. You're a Porsche without brakes. We understand. Porsche. But my point is, 50. Hey, Frank Wood, hope Roseanne gets a hold of you. Yeah, I hope she does too. I know you had mentioned that you reached out to her. Frank, I hope that she does. She's with our network, and I think it's just a matter of Jason asking her and seeing what she can do. She says she watches the show, so I would love it. But that's it. But we're a fat country, and we have some weight to lose. Now, could I lose a couple pounds? Probably. But at 51, I don't know many 51-year-olds who can knock out 50 push-ups. I don't know many 51-year-olds who can knock out 100 sit-ups. I don't know many 51-year-olds who can run 3 miles. And at that age, a lot of people just kind of let themselves go. But I believe there needs to be a national standard for America if we want to start living longer. If we want to lower health insurance costs, the only way to do that is get healthier. That's the only way. And if we don't do those things, healthcare costs are going to go up. The mortality rate's going to go down. And based upon the horrible rate of how we're having children in the world, we're in some deep trouble. Can I show you a couple things that you might find interesting there, Livy?
yes, please do.
So here is a stat.
Okay.
This is the U.S. fertility rate. And if you take a look at its pinnacle, the highest it's ever been, it was pushing up in the 125 area, 135 area. But in 1955, it was 118.3 and then got up to about 121. That's the fertility rate, 121.3. And that's the number of births per 1,000 women between the ages of 15 and 44. So 118.3 women were having children out of 1,000 at this time.
That's the baby boomer generation.
That is correct. Very
It's
good.
my mom's generation.
And then it is literally hockey stick down. And now it is at 54.5 out of 1,000. That's a decrease in population of, 60%. So the United States, for the first time, has fallen under 2 kids per couple. It is now flirting around like a 1.73. But if you look within the first 10 years of marriage, it's under 1 for the first time in most countries around the
Because
world.
people are waiting to have children. They're not having children on the honeymoon.
Right.
They're actually planning to wait like we did. I mean, we waited till we'd been married for almost 10 years.
Well, this is interesting. The birth rate decreased for women 34 and younger and increased for women 35 and older. So if you look 2005 to 2023, 15 to 19, you're looking at 39.7%. Births per 1,000 women by age groups, 13.2. Then 20 to 24, 100.1 to 55.4. You take a look at 25 to 29, 116.5 versus now 91. And then it isn't increasing for 30 to 34, honey. It's actually almost the exact same at 96 and 95. But then look here, you're seeing a little bit of increase in 35 to 39. It's not that they're waiting longer. People are just not having kids.
That's true. It's not what's of expected. Back in the 50s in my mom's generation, it was expected.
Right.
You were, as a female, you were raised to be a housewife and a mother. And
Right.
that was your option. You didn't have many other options. Most women didn't work. But now women are, if they don't want kids, they're not having kids.
Right.
And they're putting their careers over families. And, that's their choice. But I know a lot of people who are married and they don't want kids and they won't try to have children. And that's their choice. And that's totally cool. And you know what? I don't fault them and I don't look down on them, because I knew that in order to complete my life, I needed to have children. But they probably feel the same way. In order for them to feel complete, they don't want kids, because they want to be themselves and they want to travel and they want to do what they want. And that's totally cool. I don't think you need to have children to, be a complete person if you don't want to. But I just generally like kids. I mean, look what I do.
Right. Right.
I'm a nanny, and I mean, my kids are teenagers, and I'm yet going back to toddlerhood to watch kids. So
Yeah, it works for you.
but it works for me, and
us.
I enjoy it, and I'm good at it. It's something I'm really good at. But
Well, Roxanne says sperm count has decreased as well. That's absolutely correct. Estrogen is higher than men, and there's more people with testosterone deficiency than ever before. And women are actually low in their own testosterone. Women are ultra high in their estrogen levels and their testosterone, which is their sexual appetite, especially after menopause and other things. Testosterone is in a lack because of the foods that we're eating, the processed foods, the fillers they put into the food, the preservatives, the dyes. This is all having an impact on people's libido, and a swollen body. This is really the simplest way I can describe it. Has blood flow issues, and the number one thing for an erotic and fruitful experience with somebody else is blood flow. And that's for women and men. And if you don't have the blood flow, the erogenous zones aren't stimulated. And if the erogenous zones don't get stimulated, you don't get horny. And there is a difference between mental and physical horniness. And you can have all the mental you want, but if it's not clicking downstairs and in the erogenous zones, you're not gonna go and have that sex, and you're not gonna have kids. We are the panda bears. We are eating way too much eucalyptus, which is a natural anti-aphrodisiac. It actually has the opposite effect.
that's probably why pandas
This is the
having
truth.
babies.
This is the truth. Eucalyptus, too much eucalyptus can stunt sexual appetite. And there's plenty of things that can. A lot of dairy can stunt sexual appetite. Lack of red meat can do those things. And anything that creates more estrogen in your body and less testosterone can do that. So it's diet. And people wonder why you and I at our age have the sexual appetite. Somebody like, oh yeah, I have sex like once a month and we schedule it on the calendar. And you and I are like, it's been how long? Since noonsies. So, and the reason why is our appetite is fairly good. So we got to figure it out. Now, a lot of people are like, this is a dream come true. This is amazing. Thank God we have less population. No, it's not. So if you take a look here, South Dakota, Alaska, and Nebraska had the highest fertility rates in 2022.
And New Jersey, it looks like.
Yeah, but these are the smallest areas. These are horribly small areas. But the Midwest is doing well, but look at the coasts. The left coast, Oregon, it basically are the panda bears of the United States, along with Vermont. But these are two of the most liberal cities. So is Massachusetts. Look at Illinois, Colorado, New Mexico, California, Oregon. These are liberal areas. And the truth is, you don't have to be a brain surgeon to figure out why these areas have the highest propensity of low fertility. They also have the highest propensity of what, Liv?
Liberals.
And what are liberals?
Most of them are men-hating females.
That are called what? What are men-hating females?
Lesbians.
Lesbians and gays.
Yep.
People who are not copulating with the other sex. They have the highest density of lesbian and gays in these cities than others. Now, take a look here. Fertility rates decreased in all states between 2005 and 22, everywhere. But take a look at the largest ones. Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, Idaho, California, Virginia, 13.1%. Louisiana, fertility rate decreased the least in Louisiana, the least in Kentucky, the least in North Dakota, South Dakota, Iowa, Indiana, Ohio, West Virginia. These are fairly conservative areas.
Yeah, like Rachel said, abortions probably have a lot to do with it as well.
Well, that's the other thing. And that was my other point. Thank you so much. That was my other point. But then you also have to take a look at our birth rate and our success for birth rates. Medically, we are one of the highest death rates of labor birth deaths and stillbirth deaths in the world that is a civilized country with the medical system level that we have. It's a ridiculous number, and a lot of it has to do with our prenatal care. And you look at abortions. Now you stack all those things together. Impotence, an overabundance on chemical-laced foods, obesity, lack of sexual appetite, people receiving their physical stimulation from pornography instead of their spouse, people who are overstimulated by pornography and no longer aroused by physical contact, that they need that mental contact versus the physical, lack of blood flow to the body because of swelling and preservatives. You take a look at abortion and you take a look at infanticide and death rates, the morbidity levels are incredible. And what you have is a world in decline. The world in decline. Japan is no longer going to be Japan. It's going to lose half of its population in the next 30 years. They believe that Japan will no longer be able to survive and function and could be a third world country in the next 30 years. Yeah, Darla. Darla says, look at the cost. Well, I was talking about people who don't or can't have children, but you're right. The cost is a decision.
Yeah, people are definitely taking the cost into consideration.
Right.
It takes a lot. I mean, you have to look at it as, is it even worth the mom to work or one of the parents to work, considering the cost of childcare, good childcare? Yeah, you can take your kid to a crap daycare that costs $200 a week, but you're going to get what you pay for.
Right.
If you want to get good childcare, you have to pay for it. And I never realized how expensive it was because we never sent Hayden and Ethan to preschool. I was their preschool. I did an at-home preschool with them. They did not go to school.
I was hot for teacher, just going to say.
Yeah, they didn't go to school till kindergarten, but we had them in, Ethan was in swimming lessons and Taekwondo at the age of 2.5. Hayden was in swimming lessons and gymnastics. So, and I took them to a lot of, play dates and stuff around town. So they had their socialization, but I never paid for daycare. And when Hayden was a baby and she went to daycare, it was a friend who did an an at-home daycare, and it was like she watched her 2 days a week, and it was like $60. So I mean, but that was at-home daycare, so it was pretty cheap. But now that I'm in the world, and I've worked in public daycare, childcare, and now private childcare, it's expensive. It's definitely it is pricey to have a child.
It's horribly expensive.
So
and listen, people are asking, well, what about China? Every single place on the planet, I think, except for like Luxembourg, is on a decline. I think every single country in the world is on a decline. And here, if you want to know what China's numbers are, this is just a quick glance. They are in a horrible spiral. From famine to the one-child policy introduced, their birth rate now is lower than their death rate, which is the kiss of death for our country. And now it's teetering around 6.71 births per 1,000 women, which falls below the 2.01 necessary for a population growth. The United States fell below 2.01. We're at like a 1.97 per woman now. And that's teetering on population decline. And we see that it is declining in the United States. But China is in a free fall, an absolute free fall. So the entire world is seeing a depopulation. And you have to ask yourself the question, why?
And I was just doing the math right there, just real quick, to see in our area.
Folks, real quick, can you please share on Twitter? We need to get the numbers up. And a lot of people thought, since we came on late, a lot of people went to other shows. But if you could do me a favor and let's get this out here as fast as we can. Thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just kind of doing the quick math for our area, what childcare costs, taking the factor of I know what I make and taxes and everything else. In order to actually be able to have a life and pay your bills, you're going to have to, that one parent has to be making at least $150,000. And that is to have minimal. So you're going to want another parent working, but for that one parent to go have both parents go to work, you got to figure out that the mom's got to make a lot of money. Otherwise it's not worth it.
It's like 42,000 a year.
Starting for good, either like a good Montessori school, a good childcare, or a private nanny. You're looking at some bucks to have it right.
And Olivia is cheap. Not in that way, honey. You're very expensive. You're very expensive.
Thank you for
now that you got your ring back. You're really expensive.
Oh yes, I got my ring. I'm so happy.
You're gonna show it off.
Yeah, well, I don't know if anyone can see it, but
that's big enough. I think they can see the reflect.
Oh, I'm so happy. For people who don't know. One of the small diamonds on the side fell out the morning.
Small?
That was one of the small diamonds.
That's not a small diamond. That's a lot of money.
No, it's the side one. It's one of the side ones.
Yeah, those are still like $500 a piece.
And but it's a smaller. It's not the main one. It's the small one on the side.
It's not the size.
And it fell out the morning of our photo shoot, of all mornings to fall out because I was cleaning it. So luckily we have the full warranty that covers stone loss. So I had to send it in and mail it in.
It's not like your diamond pendant that you flushed down the shower drain that I bought you.
I don't want to hear it.
God, that was the most gorgeous necklace in the world. I spent so much good money on that necklace, and I
cried so hard.
She came home. She's like, my necklace has got. I'm like, well, what happened to it?
No, I called you in tears because the chain broke when I was taking a shower. I was washing my hair. There's a reason I don't wear any jewelry when I'm swimming or taking a shower now.
Not much anything else either.
Well, I'm taking a shower. I would hope I'm not wearing anything else. Just, Yeah.
Okay, so that's why. So birth rates are down. We kind of got off on a tangent, but I did want to kind of bring those both together. But it comes down to this. We need to have kids. And the reason why is for a lot of things. Because famine can take place. We can have a pandemic. We could have a war. And if your population can't provide tax revenue to the initiatives that you have grown accustomed to, it can create chaos. It can create revolution, instability, dollar fluctuations. It can crash your economy. It can create depression or recession. You want to have a healthy amount of people. The problem is, and I hate to say this, but the wrong people are dying. I hate to say it like that. But it's usually the people who are the workers, the people who have a lot of stress, the people who go out and drive and get into car accidents, the people who move to alcoholism and drug use or infidelity or whatever and have heart attacks. These are the people who have to eat fast food because they don't have time to come home and make dinner. It is the working class who is dying. And the people who are sucking off the government, sitting down all day and doing nothing and watching Jerry Springer reruns, those people live forever. They have less stress in their life, less responsibility, more money coming in provided by somebody else, and they actually live longer, and they last forever. And we have a very large class of people in this country, over 49%, that don't work. Now, some of those are elderly, and some of those are kids under 18, and that's okay, and they've done their duty. But a very large percent, and in fact, over 27% of those are non-workers, non-taxpayers who are sucking off the government's tit. Those people live forever. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just being honest. The wrong people are croaking.
Well, that's why the saying "assholes live forever" comes from, because it's kind of true.
Yeah. So, people go, oh, God, how can you say that? That's so mean. I'm sorry. Facts can be harsh sometimes, but this is the truth. And there's going to be other things we talk about tonight that you may not like, but I don't really care. Because it's not my job to make you feel good about things. It's like the Social Security thing that I did and the video that I did yesterday. It wasn't designed to make you feel good. It was designed to inform you that you better, if you're my age and Olivia's age, you better not be depending on Social Security for your income. Ginger, we want you to live forever. Knock it off. And you don't suck off the government. So that's the thing. Everyone's like, okay, Matt says everyone on welfare is sucking off the government. That's not what I said. That's not what I said. My point is there are people out there who have not worked a day in their lives. There are people who specifically just job hop and take advantage of companies and then go out on short-term disability or long-term disability, and they collect the insurance for a year and then they go and do it. It happened at Apple.
Yeah, I totally remember that. Day 2. Yep.
Guy worked for us for 2 days and he took off a year. They gave him over $84,000 in salary with full medical benefits and vacation for a year. He worked for us for 2 days.
Yeah, that's somebody who does it professionally. But then you got us and people who've got good work ethics, but Hayden is already chomping at the bit to get a job.
Well, and so does Ethan. Ethan's a tasker, and but we created that work ethic. I love you guys. I'm not saying anyone who's on, listen, we've been on government assistance. I was on long-term disability. I get it. I understand. But as soon as you're able to work again, you need to get your ass out there and work. That's right. It's supplemental. Everyone who has a problem with government subsidies, go watch Cinderella Man.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a fantastic movie. And it's also a fantastic Chick-fil-A. We want a check, by the way.
Oh, here, I'll switch it. Actually, it's not Chick-fil-A. It's
Chick-fil-A?
It's AOC's dress.
It's AOC's dress. Yes, it is. It's AOC's. God, I wish it was AOC's dress. Okay, I'm not sure. Dude, she's smoking. She's so
just
stupid.
Gag her.
She said, yeah, just gag her. Just, do you want to gag me? Yeah, kind of now. Yeah.
Good movie.
Hi.
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 Does anyone know what movie that is?
Do you want to gag me? Kinda now. I finished. It's one of the best movies ever.
Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Such a good movie.
So Michael Rappaport, he is, if you don't know who Michael Rappaport is, watch Beautiful Girls. It's a great movie. It's one of Natalie Portman's great, and it's this Nabokov dyslexic version, Lolita type movie where this older man doesn't want to have sex with a kid. That's not what it is. But he meets this young girl, her next door neighbor, and she's smart. She's intelligent. She reads Nietzsche and Shakespeare and all this other crap. And she's super witty. And she has a crush on him, and it makes him feel young again. And listen, the wiles of a young girl talking to an older guy, it works. And Olivia did it to me. She snatched me, and I was older than her. And it's flattering when you hear someone has a crush. And every dad knows when the girl your daughter's friends come over and she's got a little crush on you or something, it makes you feel like, you know what, I that's great, that's whatever, but you don't act on it. Well, this movie is called Beautiful Girls, and it's has nothing to do with Nabokov or Lolita and the sickness that's in that bullshit. But it is, and it dives into the realms of growing older men and women, and it's a great movie, and it's funny as shit. Well, Michael Rappaport's in it, and he plays exactly who he is, a complete brick, because he is a complete brick. But there is something he also is passionate. And you can be a brick, but still be ultra passionate. But he woke up. In fact, he endorsed Trump. He talked more crap about Trump than any other celebrity I ever heard. And he was obnoxious to a level that if I ever saw him, I wanted to break his nose. But he's also a Jew. And he saw what the left did to the Jews and Hamas, and he jumped and flipped sides. And he is absolutely going after the people who are going after Jordan Peterson, who was on Joe Rogan. I want to show this to you because it's excellent. And
you wouldn't let people come in there
and I want you to do me a favor. I want you to listen to his self-awareness. My kids and I were talking about this at dinner, and they said to me, my son says, Dad, is Elon Musk the smartest person in the world right now? And I said, no, not even close. Elon Musk probably isn't even in the top 2% of the smartest people on the planet. Elon Musk is certainly very smart and very intelligent and very savvy from a marketing standpoint and an engineering and intuitive and ingenuity standpoint. But as far as like Da Vinci or Newton or Einstein or Sagan or Hawking, no, not at all. But he is something extremely unique. He is a person who understands that he doesn't know everything, and he has to have a willingness to be curious and learn. That makes him one of the smartest people. When I learned that very young age, and that doesn't make me one of the smartest people. It just happens to be that I learned it at a very young age to learn everything you can. This is why I can do graphic design and audio and video and do a podcast and paint models and work with my hands and be an artist and work with music. And I if I don't understand how to do something, I just go and learn it. Olivia will tell you. Don't care what it is. I'm going to have to learn woodworking and carpentry in order to do this set. I'm doing it all myself. You just learn. Well, Elon Musk is one of those people. And T.S. Dixon, who we had, is one of those people on the show. Steve Jobs is one of those people. And dare I say that Michael Rappaport, although not a poet, not a laureate, he shows you a level of vulnerability here that I ultimately appreciate and would put him on my show just because. And I want you to give him a full chance. Give him the full 4 minutes to listen to this because I think it's worth it. And he makes a lot of sense. And he executes in a way that pretentious English douchebag on Rogan couldn't. And he says the exact same thing, but the way he says it isn't a bow to authority or a fallacy of pointing to authority as this person has a degree, so therefore you can't have an opinion type argument, or this person is in government, so therefore you can't go ahead and protest against them because they're smarter than you. That appeal to authority is what that English snobby little dick was trying to say. And Michael Rappaport says it in a way that isn't that way. So, Olivia, I wanted you to watch this. Here it is.
Fighter. He is the UFC. Podcasting. He's any fighter. He is the UFC. Podcasting. He's OG of this shit. He has these people on his show. Joe Rogan loves a conspiracy theory. That's fun. You want to talk about UFOs? You want to talk about deep-seated RFK? You want to, I love all that. But since October 7th, he has anybody come on there and just float ideas. This Dave Smith, this Ian Carroll, this other bald-headed mustache.
Charity says, love me some Pink Floyd, even though Waters makes me nuts. I can't stand Roger Waters. Gilmore is the draw. I'm retired nowadays. I'm comfortably numb by choice after 6 p.m. I love Gilmore.
Ash guy. They're like 3-card Monty people. I'm telling you, these guys are pimps. These guys are hustlers because they spin words beautifully. I wish I could spin words as beautifully as some of the people that Joe Rogan has had on his podcast since October 7th. They are eloquent bullshit artists, eloquent 3-card Monty players. You ever play 3-card Monty in New York? You always feel violated afterwards. That's the same thing when you listen to these scumbags on Joe Rogan. But Joe Rogan would be like, it's an open discussion. You know, we're just floating ideas. We're not married to them being facts or not facts, and they don't have to be experts. We're having a talk. We're just having a talk. I'm smoking a cigar. Sometimes I smoke weed. We're just talking. That's Joe Rogan's series. And it's great for everything except for facts. It's great for everything except for people that are disparaging week after week, podcast after podcast, and not telling the truth and the reality of what has happened October 7th and beyond. So you bring on one scumbag after the next scumbag, and they say, well, I'm not an expert. I'm a comedian. I'm not an expert, but I know this. I'm not an expert on Hitler, but I'm not an expert on Churchill, but I'm not an expert on the conflict in the Middle East, but here's all of my thoughts. I'm a comedian, but we're not going to do any jokes. We're not going to talk comedy. I'm just going to expound on all my thoughts. Joe Rogan will have all these people come on and talk about history, Israel, Jews, genocide, and Hamas. But if I came on Joe Rogan, I was like, Joe, you know, I'm an MMA fan. I've never been in a ring. He would say, have you ever, you know, like worked out MMA? No. But do I have to do it to be an expert? Do I have to actually spar MMA? Can't I just, it's my opinion. I've talked to some fighters, and you know, my brother and I, we used to pillow fight. Joe, my brother would use the heavy pillow, and when he hit me with that heavy pillow a couple times, it hurt. So I know what it's like to get hit in the head. Not like by John Jones, but I know what it's like to get hit in the head. But Joe, listen, you know, I'm thinking, because my brother, after we would have pillow fights, sometimes we would do the choke out game where I would let him choke me to sleep, and then he'd wake me up and I'd laugh and I'd be like, oh my God, that was so crazy. And then afterwards we'd continue fighting or wrestling or doing what we do. I think Joe Rogan, when these fighters get choked out, tap them awake, give them a standing 8 count. If they want to keep fighting, let them keep fighting. Wouldn't that be so exciting, Joe? Wouldn't the crowd go crazy if one fighter gets choked out, you give him a standing 8 count, then they come back and win? Joe Rogan would be like, what the fuck are you talking about? You have no idea what you're talking about. Have you ever been choked out? No. Have you ever been in a UFC cage? No. It's just my thoughts. It's my ideas. It's my opinion. Joe Rogan would be like, what the? The conversation would be over. If somebody came on Joe Rogan podcast and started talking about, well, you know, the second show on a Friday night, it's not that bad. I don't know why comics, Steve Martin, publicly wrote in his book, I don't know why you guys always complain about the second show Friday night. Have you ever been on stage second show Friday night? No. But have you ever done comedy? No. But he wouldn't entertain that. Churchill, World War II, Jews, Gaza, genocide, anything goes on Joe Rogan. It's irresponsible. You wouldn't have these sort of floating conversations or ideas about MMA because you're an expert on it. You know it. You live it. You created it. You've done it. Stand-up comedy, same. You wouldn't let people come in there and tell you about how a joke this and what it's like performing on the road versus different between performing in a theater, which is different from performing in an arena. You wouldn't let anybody have a conversation about it unless they've done it. You got these people on there. There's Dave Smith, Douglas Murray. Ask him, when was the last time you've been to Israel? I've never been. If you've never been, I can't talk about it? Yeah, you could talk about it. But why don't you go, Dave Smith? Joe Rogan, you have all these people come on and talk. Why don't you go? You're Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan and Janine. The Joe Rogan podcast, live from Judea, Samaria. Interview some of these terrorists. Interview some of the widows of IDF soldiers. Interview some of the hostages who've gotten out of Gaza. Talk to them, Joe Rogan, instead of talking to Dave Smith and the rest of these fucking dumb.
All right, so there's not one thing he said that I don't agree with 120%. It's his delivery. And I will tell you, I would much rather listen to him than the pretentious English douche plow, whose name I already forgot. It's not babbling. It's actually a very coherent and well-articulated argument that's delivered completely like dog shit.
I have a problem with the podcasts and the shows that every few seconds it looks like it's skipping to a new scene.
Oh, I can't stand that either. It makes me sick.
Drives me nuts. It's it makes me think of, you can't put a coherent thought together because you're having to pause your video and edit out your screw ups. That's what it makes me think of, is that there's a screw up. So you're spewing on nonsense and you're having to edit your video for it to make sense. That's what it reminds me of.
Yeah.
But it doesn't flow. I don't like it, and it totally turns me off from wanting to watch them.
Yeah, and he is one of the most annoying people. And the interesting thing is my whole point to this segment is that I would love to have him on and say, dude, when you were doing this from the left, everyone hated you. And now when you're doing it from the right, people still hate you. You need to learn how to deliver a message. You say you wish you could be eloquent. You wish you could communicate effectively. Well, dude, you just went on Oprah. You know the problem. Fix it. You just openly admitted that you have a very poor presentation style. His point is spot on. If anyone was on Joe Rogan and tried to tell him about the UFC, Joe Rogan would say, dude, you don't know what you're talking about. He says it all the time. But remember, when Dave Smith was told he didn't know what he was talking about, and openly he admitted he didn't, Joe defended him and said, he's just talking here. He's asking questions. He's just talking. Let him talk. So there's a contradiction. You try to tell Joe Rogan about the properties of deer meat and bow hunting, and he's going to school you. You want to talk about thermal regulated baths from a cold environment? He's gonna school you. You want to talk about the devastating roundhouse kick and how Joe Rogan, pound for pound, is probably one of the strongest strikers when it comes from a kicking perspective out there, or at least was at one point. He's going to school you. His delivery is horrendous. And the one thing I would tell Michael is, this is your character in your movies too. And although can be endearing in a movie, it's not endearing when you're speaking with common sense and a level of intellect, which actually is pretty highbrow, but you're unable to learn from your transgressions. And this is like my biggest thing. If you watch my live shows 2 years ago to now, they are nothing alike. The show's the same. It's the content that's completely changed.
And your delivery.
Absolutely. I mean, it was F this, F that, F this, F that, F. And then, Leroy, you and Amy would just sit there and watch me talk. And that still happens some nights. And that's just the way the show is designed. But your role in this show is more of like a Robin Quivers. And
that's what it was designed to be.
That's right. And it really was, having that you and I married and having that bickering and that love-hate that Robin and Howard have. But then when Leroy comes on, it's an exchange of ideas and supporting each other with facts and filling the stopgaps. And when Amy and I come on, it's usually some fairly not always lined up opinions. Actually, Melanie, he didn't have that low of a vocabulary. So that's why I asked you guys to listen to him specifically, to get away from his presentation and listen to the words. He's not a monosyllabic type guy. He actually has a fairly extensive vocabulary. What he has a very obnoxious side to him that is impossible to palate in incremental. You have to do it in incremental doses. It's like Sam Kinison. I don't know if you ever heard Sam Kinison talk off camera. Super intelligent. Gilbert Godfrey is one of the strongest delivered comics from a content perspective I've ever seen, but can't stand listening to him.
His voice.
Bobcat Goldthwait was the same way. Genius from a writer's perspective. Couldn't stand his delivery. So my point is, these are the things that don't ignore people or don't listen to them simply because of their presentation style. They deserve the feedback. And if I could talk to Michael, I would tell him, listen, I'm not a fan of you. I hated you for many years, but I can still listen to you because I have learned to listen to the contents of the words and not necessarily the character of the person. And that is a very difficult thing to do, but that's what we kind of try to preach. I thought he did a horrible job presenting. I thought the content was very spot on and would have put Joe Rogan in a position of, oh shit, I didn't think about that. Because there's two ways Joe works. Joe would be, no, dude, you're wrong. Stop. I know about this. That's number one of Joe Rogan. And number two is, interesting. Yeah, I can see your point. I didn't think about it that way. Yeah. That's the two Joe Rogans you get. And I promise you, if he would have delivered that way, certainly wouldn't have been a good experience with Joe Rogan, because Joe would just tell him like he does with Alex Jones, dude, shut up. But I believe it would have put Joe in that second aforementioned reaction. Anyway, that's it. So just something to think about, something to look at. Charity Lamb donated $21.10. Long live David Gilmour. Listen, I'm willing to get the copyright strike. One of the greatest renditions ever, Charity. And do me a favor. Go on right now and type in the following. Not right now, after the show. HD, David Bowie, Pink Floyd, Comfortably Numb, live. And then you will hear, in my opinion, one of the most emotionally charged of the two solos inside Comfortably Numb that David Gilmour has ever presented. I got to see Pink Floyd at the Griffith Observatory. Incredible. Floating pig and all. Is amazing. And anyway, but go listen to David Bowie as he delivers, hello, is there anybody out there? And he delivers it like, there'll be no more. Ah. Oh, it's so good. And Bowie, I can't stand Bowie's politics, but God, the guy could belt. Go watch that rendition. I think it's probably the best Comfortably Numb rendition ever. I would take the copyright strike if we could do that. Anyway. Dodie says, I saw a rant and I wasn't able to get past that. Teach yourself. Learn. Have you guys ever listened? Liv, can you think of a song that you listened to when you first heard it and you hated it? And then after a couple times, you're kind of like, wow.
I know there's plenty of them. I just have to think. You
weren't a big fan of Somebody That I Used to Know when it first came out. You know, someone that I used to know.
I wasn't.
No, you didn't like that song. You also couldn't stand Last Christmas.
Yep.
And then appreciated it once you understood it.
Yeah, there's also the other Taylor Swift song, the other Christmas song. 'Tis the Damn Season.
Oh, I haven't heard that.
No, you have, because I was like, I hate that song, and Hayden's like, I love that song. We played it for you, and you're like, oh, I really like that song.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's definitely a few.
Griffith Observatory is outside. There's an inside and an outside. Griffith Observatory, there's two connected. There's an amphitheater, which is Irvine Meadows, and then there's the Griffith Observatory, which you can go inside and see Pink Floyd, the laser light show. I've done both. And I think the one I was talking about was Irvine Meadows. The laser light show is in Griffith. Yeah, in Irvine Meadows and Griffith Observatory. You can see Griffith Observatory from Irvine Meadows. Seeing they still have it. If you haven't been to the Griffith Observatory laser light show, doesn't do laser light shows anymore. It debuted in 1973, and I went to that. Pink Floyd, the floating pig and the dollar sign. They played The Wall and lasers. Oh, it was incredible. And you laid back in reclining chairs, and oh, it was incredible. I went with my brother. I'm thinking of Irvine Meadows Amphitheater. I saw Tesla and Def Leppard at Irvine Meadows too. Anyway, shout, let it all out. These are the things I'm talking about. Hated that song. Michael Jackson. Oh, like Black and White by Michael Jackson. Couldn't stand that song when I first heard it. And then I started listening to it. And I'm like, okay, I like it. There are plenty of songs. Like, I couldn't stand the one we were just talking about. I've got stamina. I couldn't stand her.
Oh, yeah, that's another one that I was like.
Oh, I hated her. Now I love that song. And there's plenty of songs. I couldn't stand Blondie. Call Me. Call me. Da, 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 da. I love that song. Couldn't stand it when I was a kid. I couldn't do Our House In the middle of our street. Frankie Goes to Hollywood. I couldn't stand that song. I love that song now.
Does anyone want a cat?
David Bowie.
Seriously.
David Bowie, Let's Dance. Hated that song. Put on your red shoes and dance the blues. Let's swing. Oh, hated that song. Love that song now. How about Domo Arigato Disco Rabato Domo? Couldn't stand that song. So my point is there a lot of books and movies? Can you think of a movie that we watched that we started and then we gave it a chance, or seasons in TV that we didn't like and then we gave it a chance and it was great? We stopped watching Dexter and we're in love with it. Yenny, for the love of God, leave your mother alone.
I have put her on her perch 6 times. Thank you,
Yenny,
Hayden.
GTFO.
I have put her on her perch 6 times. She will not. She hops down a few minutes later and comes back up. Thank you.
Right, the safety dance. You can dance if you want to. You can leave your friends behind. But if they don't dance and if you don't dance, you're no friend of mine. 99 love balloons. You are she cocked magnetic water. I don't know what the fuck she says. Some German shit. Sieg Heil Nazi Gestapo Riesen.
Beautiful.
So there's plenty of music. There's plenty of books. My point is just listen. Just give it a chance. And then if you can't take it, come back and try to disseminate because you're missing stuff. It's like my mother-in-law, who I love, but she like Dexter was playing when she was here. And Deb was like, F this, F that, F this, F that, F this. And she waited and waited and waited. Finally, she's like, you know what? I'm done. And just got up and left. There was a time where the first F word would have done, and she would have declared and ruined everybody's night to say, turn this off. This is horrible. So she's changed, and she has learned to give herself a little bit of leeway and runway before pulling and popping smoke. Okay. Oh my God, Cat.
Just run me a script bottle.
Just tell me to do it. I'll just put her out of her misery right now.
What? Really? She's yelling at me for something.
Why don't you hold her?
Come here. I'm going to smother you with love until you want to go away.
I want to hold her and squeeze her and never let her go.
Okay, is that better?
See, you need to love her back and then just just bang on her and just slap her head. And then finally she'll be like, okay, screw this. This isn't the type of love I was looking for. Jasmine Crockett after this message.
The Dumb Show is built on real conversations, raw, unfiltered, and fearless. Big Tech didn't like that. Facebook pulled out funding, tried to shut us down.
Yes. Amadeus.
I love that
Amadeus.
I
Rock me,
love
Amadeus.
this.
Waka,
I
waka,
loved
waka, waka, waka.
Down. But for over a year, you, our incredible viewers, have kept us going. Your support, your donations, your time, it all matters. Most of you spend 10 plus hours a week with us. Compare that to Netflix, maybe 5 hours a month. We believe we're worth that time, and we hope you do too. But listen, we don't want giving to feel like a burden. We want it to feel good. So take a second to ensure you're in a good spot. If you're in a place to give, that will be amazing. If not, just liking and sharing helps more than you know. Visit thedumbshow.com/donate. Whether it's PayPal, Venmo, or Mail, every bit helps to keep us going. Dumb Nation, we appreciate you more than words can say.
Folks, I need your help tonight. I am here sick, and I was asleep like a little possum or a kangaroo
You're
in
sleeping like a baby.
Kangaroo in a mama's sack.
I did come upstairs and I opened
If
the
you
door,
would have come
and
upstairs, you wouldn't have left. Trust
No,
me.
you were passed out cold.
So
I'm
I'm a little marsupio stuck in the womb, the little sack, just warm and surrounded by kangaroo fur. And I was ripped from my slumber to do this show tonight. So listen, I've got a 9:30 Avalanche game. I would love to be off at 9:15. if we're going to go after goal, we got to do it. You got to help me tonight. I can't stay on that late. So and I know you guys like to wait to the end and make me suffer. Please don't make me suffer tonight.
I will be leaving at 9:15, just so you know.
Please don't make me suffer tonight, because I won't leave. I will stay on until we hit it, because I have a responsibility for my family. So please do me a favor. If you're going to give tonight, give early, give often. Let's crush this mother humper so we can just plow through this and not waste time doing commercials, because I don't want to do commercials. Oh my God, that song is annoying but classic. Right.
Wu-Tang Clan. They're saying something about Wu-Tang Clan.
No, Wang Chung tonight.
Oh.
Do you want to Wang Chung tonight? Everybody around the world. Everybody Wang Chung tonight. Dude, don't get me on Trivial Pursuit. Like the pink square. Please. Okay. You know what? Jasmine Crockett, quickly. No, screw her. Listen, people have different reactions. And being sports, I get it. Okay? But this, to me, I want to get your reaction. I want to see if Olivia and I are on the same page. Liv, this is at a Red Sox game.
Okay.
And this guy is built for speed, looking at his Izod canvas belt and his tucked-in shirt, tighter than tight can be. And he is with a smoker to his right, or to his left, and he wants to catch a ball. Now, I got to give him props for a couple things. He's not reaching into the play and interfering with the play, but watch this breakdown. Watch what happens.
Been a rough day for this young fan. So he had this foul ball that he could not make the play on. Then this ground ball he couldn't make the play on. As Ackley swings and misses. And then the ball boy said, well, let me get, and they couldn't,
But he got the ball,
but he got the ball, and he's a good sport about it. Been a rough day for this young fan.
His wife's laughing at him.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
There's nothing wrong with it. She's a smoke show, and he's going to go home and he's going to plow that. Come on.
I think that's freaking hilarious.
I mean,
he can't catch it. It reminds me of our daughter. She can't catch a ball to save her life. Last time we were playing with like a big beach ball up, I threw it at her and it hit her in the head. She tried to catch that thing.
That's right.
And it went boom, hit her in the head. I was like, okay.
Right. Couldn't catch it. And then if she played goalie, she couldn't stop a beach ball either.
Yeah, she's not my athletic one.
But you know what? I find that endearing. You know what? I mean, we've all been there. We've all made stupid. Not everyone's a center fielder. The guy's a dork. He probably has never played baseball in his life. His dad didn't spend any time with him. Just like my dad did it. It's so unfair.
He obviously isn't that much of a baseball fan because he's not in gear. I mean,
right. Well,
usually sports fans, when you go to your games, you're in some sort of gear.
But he's got a milfy wife. I mean, the guy's obviously got money. Good for him. He's doing fine. And you know what? He got the ball in the end. So he's not going to play center field for the Yankees. Not everybody has to be. It doesn't define him. At least he's laughing. And it reminds me of Bill Gates when he ran out on stage for Windows 95. And he's like, hi, everybody. And you're just like, dude, you look like a fucking retarded.
His wife divorced him too.
Retarded T-Rex. Well, that's because he got a little touchy on Epstein Island. It looks like, allegedly. You don't need my money, Bill. Fuck you. But I love that. I saw that video. My first reaction was to be like a guy, be like, what a dummy. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to put myself in his position. Good for him. Not everybody needs to be Captain America. Not everyone needs to be G.I. Joe. You got to have some support once in a while. And that guy's a good support player. And in the end, it's kind of like Justin Verlander. People made a good point. You lost the World Series. You never have won anything in a finals. You've lost every game you've played. And in the end, yeah, but I get to go home and smash Kate Upton. It's a good point. I mean, you're kind of a winner no matter what happens. So that's my point. So there it is. Liv?
Yes.
What? You know, I have some questions about the Catholic Church.
Yes, I think I do too.
Yeah, this was done in Holy Week processions in Cartagena, Spain. And not Cartagena, Colombia, two very different places. And I'm a little perplexed.
España?
Yeah, I'm a little perplexed. Yeah, here it is. You tell me what the hell's going on here. And maybe our Catholic people in the audience can tell us what's going on.
Where's Amy when you need her? thought.
I do too.
Let me say my thought first.
I think I know what your thought is. I'm going to let you say it because you're the racist one on the show. All right. Wait. Let's get you back here because I know what you're going to say. I already thought the thought. I'm like, I'm not going to say that. You're going to say it. Go.
The colorblind clan is
Yeah.
what that is.
Right. It's like from Dave Chappelle. He's like, where all them mutes at? He's like, I'm going to go ahead and get me
They got the colors mixed up.
I'm going to go get me an oon boy.
Oh, goodness.
It's like, we
don't
haven't told him that he's
understand.
black.
I don't understand, but my family, my dad's side of the family is all Catholic, and I've been to several weddings and few funerals from that side of the family. And of course, they've all been Catholic ceremonies, and I don't understand some of the rituals they do during the wedding. And
It's a little.
I mean, they did like, it's not confession, but it's where you get the wine and the wafer, whatever that is.
That's not weird.
But that's during a wedding. They had the entire audience come and do that during a wedding. I'm like, why?
That shit's weird.
And the amount of Hail Marys that we were supposed to recite at my grandfather's
Oh my
wake and
God,
funeral.
Yenny, what are you doing?
But yeah, the amount of Hail Marys that we were supposed to recite at my grandfather's wake and funeral, and I'm not even Catholic. I'm like, what?
It's weird. It's weird.
I don't understand the rituals and the stuff they have to do.
I'm not a big fan at all. So
Thank you. She just jumped down.
But yes, Christine Clark just bought an Ash Kicker shirt. Great to see. Thank you. We'll make sure we get that out to you right away. As far as donations, we made no progress. You guys are killing me tonight. Where's Bobby?
I don't know. She's not here. I haven't seen her.
That's weird. That's going to be hard. Without Bobby here, we might just be sunk. If Mel and Bobby aren't here, and a couple of other people like Paul and Thomas, we're in trouble. Jordan Peterson people are calling Jordan Peterson woke now. Okay, you people, this woke right movement, you guys
Peterson.
Lois, thank you so much. 2110. How are you feeling? I haven't heard from you. Hope you're doing well. I know you've been on the show. Just want to check on you. Hope you're feeling well. That's a weird video. Like that gives me weird. Frederick says she's split. What does that mean? She's split.
The cat. I bet.
Oh. Karen says she's strutting her stuff on the catwalk. On the catwalk. Speaking of songs. Good for you. Karen, that was very well done. Good. You know, the stray cat strut, he's a stray cat. That would have been better.
Kirsten said, he said she will dance on her pole for donations.
Yeah, cross on the uniforms was upside down. Very weird shit. Listen, Catholic religion, has got its skeletons, and we all know it does. And we go through history; it's done some pretty weird shit. But the whole pomp and circumstance and regal dress and rich fineries, that is so not Jesus, and I don't understand it. It's the one thing I just disagree with the Catholic religion. I just don't understand the paganistic rituals that take place. Sorry, and you may be like, Matt, you've lost me. I'm never going to watch your show again. I really hope that's not the case. Maybe you could explain it to me, but I don't think communion and rosaries and Opus Dei whipping and endorsing slavery and being involved in witch trials and having secret underground military and overthrowing and toppling governments with influence and the pedophilia and all that other stuff is something that it should be admonished. And Catholic priests should be held accountable to a level that is warranted for a godly congregation and belief structure. That's all. That's the only thing I'm saying. And I believe they have a lot to atone for. And instead of setting doctrine on sexuality and politics, maybe just give the word of God to people and stick true to his word and don't make it about you. That's my grub.
Jessica Beck said, was the ceremony before or after the Pope passed? And then somebody said before.
This was way before. This was back in 2022. There's some very weird things. We're not doing religion tonight. It was just that video.
She left, I think.
Oh, okay. So
she may not have even been here tonight.
No, I just wanted to check on her. That's all. it's just so weird not to see donation by Bobby. So it's totally okay. In fact, it's shocking that she gives as much as she gives. It's just when it doesn't happen, it's like, well, where is she? Is she okay? That's really all I care about. I don't care about anything else. Because usually she emails me or says, hey, I'm not going to be on tonight, or, this is for tonight's show. So I'm just concerned about her. Jordan Peterson is getting a hell of a lot of flack. And people are now saying a person who is considered to be a generational leader for us and for the conservative movement is now, because his support for Israel is now woke. Jordan Peterson is making the same point I made the other night, and that is, if we are not careful, and it's interesting how two people have now come out and made this point that I made last night. Well, 3 nights ago, but maybe we're all on the same wavelength, and that's what it is. But you remember I told you, I said the alt-right is becoming the woke left. Mm-hmm. Is that they are espousing and alternating history, like the 1619 Project, and retelling history and creating a revisionist history in order to sell a narrative about the Jews, and this shit's got to stop. And I believe we need to admonish these people and admonish them with facts. I believe Candace Owens needs to be taken down. And everyone's kissing her ass because these grifters just want the money. They want the clicks. They want the ad revenue. And, sometimes I'm really happy that we're not beholden to Facebook and that we have Wimkin as a partner and we have our fans that fund us, because I'm not beholden to kiss anyone's ass. I just get to say it like it is. And if I'm ever syndicated, I'll tell them, I'm not going to curtail to you. I'm not going to sell what you want me to sell. If you're going to have an advertiser come in, you're going to bring me in as a partner. And we're going to test the products. And we're going to be selective with the advertising. And if you don't like that, then I don't need to be on your show.
Yeah, no one is going to tell us what we can and cannot do on our show and how we're going to run it. And there's been a couple people in our life.
You can't drop that, not say it.
Connor has a school project we're working on, but I'll be listening the rest of the night. Thank you, JD, for the $25.
Thank you, JD. Go ahead and finish.
We've had a couple people that have come into our lives who've been active in the show and tried putting their input in and tried pushing their way in after a few short weeks and tried making big changes. And when we push back, they are no longer here. So we don't care who you are. We have grown this from the ground up. I've been on the tail end and supported from the background. It's
tail
Matthew.
Nice.
Yeah, the tail end's nice. Matthew's done most of the hard work. But we have grown this from the ground up. It's our show and it's no one else's show. We love input. We love questions.
Yeah.
But no one's going to come in and tell us how we are going to run this.
Monty, it's a great point. A lot of places do communions or confessions or cleansing of the sins. And I agree with you. I just think you're right. They're a little over the top. Matt and Olivia, you will do what you are told. Go fuck yourself, Thomas. If you keep donating, because we don't have Bobby here tonight. And I don't know if...
I don't know if that's supposed to be a sex joke or not. That's how I took it, but I don't know. That's just me. I don't know.
I don't really care. It's fine. Just say whatever you want to say. Here's the the Joe Rogan interview with Jordan Peterson. And I want you to listen to Jordan Peterson here. And this is comparison contrast to the gentleman we just saw, Michael Rappaport. Look at how hard Jordan struggles. And this is really a shame, is Jordan is talking. And I wish I could talk to him. I wish he would forward my show the honor of his presence. So I could just say, were you circumspect on purpose? Were you reserved on Joe's show because you were afraid of what you were going to say? From retaliation and retribution standpoint, and the blowback you would get, because I've never seen him be so circumspect. I've never seen him be so introspective. Usually he is a facilitator of conversations, but in this one, he was almost exploratory, almost confused. Listen to this. This is alarming. And we should never have a censored Jordan Peterson on the planet Earth. Listen.
And so this is I can really see this starting to happen on the right. Like, I've been tracking psychopathic behavior on the right for probably 4 years, something like that. especially on the anti-Semitic side, because that's really where it reared its head first. And
why is that?
There's nothing more annoying than a successful minority. Right. Now, that's part of it. And I'm going to, I might as well.
Then I'll never be syndicated, Tuner. I believe you can maintain your values and still be syndicated. What you need to do is make a voice for yourself, and you need to make it where they can't deny you. Like, I see Tim Pool getting access as press, in the press room, and I'm just like, what? Justin Barclay got access. My live show has more viewers than Justin. And I have to hold on to the fact that it'll come. Justin Barclay has Glenn Beck that he covers for. Justin works his ass off. Justin is a very intelligent human being, and I love him to death, and he has a disposition that I don't possess. I just don't have that ability, but he is someone I really like. And he was at the White House today, so I have to hope against hope that I'll get mine. But if they expect me to dress up in a suit when I'm not in the White House, because if I go to the White House, I'll be the best damn dressed conservative podcaster on the planet because everyone knows I can dress up. But I'm not going to sit here in a suit and be uncomfortable and sweat through the lights and not sell my clothing line because I do for a reason. By the way, you can go to thedumbshow.com and pick yourself up a shirt, a hat, and some coffee and anything else you want. So just give this a listen.
Get myself in trouble right away too.
Yeah, for sure.
Well,
this is a third rail subject.
Well, so it's a real terrible subject.
It's interesting because if you don't criticize it enough, you're compromised.
See, do you know what he means by a third rail subject?
No.
If you are on an electric subway, on a railway, you can touch left rail and right rail. You touch middle rail and either or, and you're dead.
Okay.
So when you say third rail, it's essentially you can have a safe conversation. It's kind of like Mr. Miyagi. Left side of the road, right side of the road, you're fine. You go to the middle, just like grape. A middle of the road conversation in this sounds like a passive conversation, but in this story, you drive in the middle of the road, you're going to get hit by both sides. So what he says, third rail, he basically says it is a danger topic. And it can hurt Jordan Peterson. So he pronounces before he starts, I'm going to get myself in trouble here. And it just bothers me so much that the right is so fragile that he's going to say something that they don't agree with, and they're all going to melt down on him. And that's exactly what they do here. And now they are canceling him just like the left does. This is just
the right is no better than the left.
At times.
If you criticize, it's like when it comes to anti-Semitism, like
what? Amy says, I'm confused. I thought you welcomed story ideas. I must have missed something. I'm working and a student asked me a question. Yeah, you missed it.
Yeah, you missed it.
Yeah, we didn't say that. We were talking something completely. We're talking about selling out and getting syndicated and having them tell us what we market and what we pronounce, what we support and what we don't, what topics we cover and what we don't. We just won't sell out like that. That's what we were talking about. We want viewers' ideas.
Oh, yeah.
It's
we love
one
viewers'
of
ideas.
In fact, Olivia was supposed to talk to you guys about this. If you have something for the show, a lot of people send me stuff. They send it me through Messenger. Whatever. Send it to Olivia at thedumbshow.com.
Posting it right now.
Olivia at thedumbshow.com. If you have a story idea that you want us to cover, if you have a question, send it into Olivia. We'll get it on the show that night. In fact, I've got a couple videos I hope we can get to. If we can get donations going.
Those things where you can't separate. It's a religion, and it's also a race, and it's also a government.
Mm-hmm.
That's where things get weird.
Right.
And then there's also the concept of intelligence agencies and compromise that also gets attached to it, the manipulation of world markets and money, and there's a lot to unpack. And then there's regular Jewish people who have nothing to do with that.
Well, the Jews, too, they're very successful.
Yeah.
And so what you would expect from a purely statistical point of view is you'd expect them to be overrepresented at the extremes.
They're also a walled garden, right?
Meaning
it's very difficult to join. They don't proselytize. They don't try to get you to join. Right. And they're all very tightly knit. They call themselves the Klan. They're all like locked in. The Jewish Klan, not KKK. The problem with that term has been compromised by the Ku Klux Klan. but I mean it as terms of tribe.
Well, community.
Yeah, community.
Mhm.
They're very tight knit in that regard. They stick together.
Well,
and
so-
if you understand the history, obviously, of Nazi Germany and of persecution in Eastern Europe, you have to. Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Put
well,
kitties in there.
all these complex things are multidimensional. I mean, I watched your whole conversation with Douglas, and I thought you guys did a very credible job, all three of you, of navigating unbelievably choppy waters. So that's the first thing I'd like to say, because one of the things I was trying to figure out when I was watching that is, do I think I could have done a better job of any of you? And I certainly didn't walk away from it with that idea in mind. But then underneath all that, I thought there's a really unbelievably tricky problem here, and I think that's why it's made it poked up into. Well, you also set that conversation up, but it poked up and made itself manifest in that conversation. And the issue is, how do you identify the psychopathic pretenders? And it's even worse now, and then make a barrier, right? Now,
Right.
the right was calling for the left to do that for decades,
Right.
and they didn't, and they couldn't. And the left is not good at drawing barriers, partly temperamentally. The right is somewhat better, but there's no shortage of monstrosity there. And so then the question is, how do you draw the line? And that's kind of what I was, because I've been watching these right-wing, they're not right-wing, these psychopathic types manipulate the edge of the conservative movement for
Right.
their own gain.
Right.
And a lot of that's cloaked in anti-Semitic guise. There's plenty of anti-Semitism on the left too, by the way. So it's not unique to the right.
Well,
but
particularly now.
yes, particularly now.
Right.
And so, you've let your curiosity guide you, your curiosity and your desire for knowledge, this quest, you've let that guide you as a podcaster. And by the way, I'm trying to work through exactly the same sort of thing. How do you know, given your radical increase in stature over the last 10 years, how do you know when?
This is such a massive point to this conversation that Jordan asked here. And I think this is probably one of the most important questions we can ask ourselves going into 2028. Listen to this.
Your curiosity and even your skepticism about the fact that things aren't the way that people say they are, because that's certainly been demonstrated in the last 10 years. How should anyone decide what guardrails to put up? Like, what do you look for? Do you have a conceptual system worked out for that? Like, because,
what do you mean? In what way?
well,
How do I look for in terms of people to talk to?
yeah,
How do I look for the
because
subjects
you
to
have
talk
this
about?
insanely immense platform,
Yeah.
and you're inviting people onto it. And, you said to Douglas, and I know this to be true, that you're not really thinking about the outcome exactly. You're thinking about, this is an interesting person to talk to, and I'd
Yes.
like to go on that quest. But then you have the additional conundrum. We're trying to work this out in the Daily Wire side of things too. Not to say that that's exactly the same situation. It's like, once you gain in reach and authority, then how do you know that? How do you take great care that the people you're talking to aren't, what would you say, eliciting or feeding a subculture? Yeah, that's right. That hasn't got the proper aims.
Mm.
Like, I guess the legacy media probably worked that out by having people, mediators, right? And guests. And that was also back when we could rely on the structures of authority in some sense to filter. And now we're in this helter-skelter world where everything is
The
up
legacy
for
media is the
grabs.
worst at that now.
Yeah, I know.
They're the worst.
I
at
know.
that, which is fascinating.
Melanie, I hope your husband's doing okay. Second, I remember Captain Kangaroo vividly
Yes.
and Romper Room. I see Olivia and I see Matthew. Magic Mirror. That was one of the saddest interviews that I've ever seen of Jordan Peterson, as he was castrated by his own fear. At Joseph Hillstrom, Don't You Forget About Me, song by Modern English. Don't you forget about me. Don't. Or Benny Johnson. Yeah. Jordan Peterson, man, I would have loved right there to give him the biggest hug ever, because he almost was mentally castrated by the cancel culture from the right, knowing that he's going on Rogan, which has become a platform, honestly, where a lot of people are espousing that Rogan's platform is red-pilled and doesn't like the Jews because of who he's putting on, and that he is tainted to being more anti-Semitic than not. And people like Ian Carroll and such have turned him against the Jews and Israel. I don't believe that that's where he's at, but I do believe he's platforming people who are getting him a ton of views. And this subculture of anti-Zionism and hating Jews is very popular. And the fact that Jordan Peterson is advocating that Israel should be a sovereignty and have a right to protect its borders and has a claim to protect Israel and has a valid reason to go after people who have attacked them. My argument to the anti-Zionist and the anti-Israel, the country of Israel, and anti-Jew is fairly simple, and it's only this. What would you do if every single time you made peace with somebody that they would attack you? And more importantly, I'm going to give you the example that was said today, and I believe Jordan did say it, or somebody said it to Joe Rogan, and here's the thing, and Liv, you walk me through this. If Hamas laid down its arms right now and gave back all the hostages and said, we're done, and Israel accepted, what would be the next move? What would happen next?
For Israel?
And for the parties involved, Israel and Hamas. And on any timeline, could be 6 months from now, could be a day from now, could be 5 years from now, what would most assuredly happen next?
Somebody else is going to attack Israel.
Somebody else, or?
I would think another country. Or maybe Hamas again.
The history is Hamas. Hamas most assuredly would attack and kill Jews again, because this has happened repeatedly over 7 times over the last 25, 30 years. And since the Palestinians since 1920 have hated and despised living with Jews. And even back to 1830, when the Romans entered Israel and named it Palestina, there has been this contentious relationship with the Jews. Now, if Israel laid down its arms and stopped attacking Gaza and stopped killing Hamas and its citizens and innocents and all this other bullshit, what would absolutely, and they gave up their military and they said, you know what, we're going to live in peace and harmony, what would happen?
Somebody else is going to attack them.
Hamas would murder every single one of them. That's the answer. We're not talking about other countries. Israel lays down its arms, Hamas is going to murder every single Israel, man, woman, and child. Every Jew is going to be murdered, tortured, raped, killed, beheaded, and pushed into the sea. Most assuredly. Whatever the outcome, there will be war. Whatever the Jews do, Hamas will continue to murder Jews. So the Jews are murdering them instead. That's called self-defense. And I don't mean to be short with you, but I want to bring you onto the track that I'm talking about here. We're talking about Hamas and Israel. We're not talking about other countries. Yes, if Hamas doesn't attack the Jews, somebody else will. You're absolutely right. That's a complete given. But that's going to take place whether Hamas surrenders or not, right?
That's true.
So the point is, this is Israel's option. Make themselves vulnerable and be attacked again when they search for peace, or make themselves completely eradicated from Earth as Hezbollah, the IRGC, the Syrian Guard, the JEP, Houthis, and Hamas rise up and slaughter and kill Jews and push them into the sea. They don't have a choice.
Yeah.
So they are doing the only thing that they can do, which is murder every single one of those people who want to kill them. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Tell me they're just. I don't care how much you hate Jews. I don't care how much you hate Hamas. Tell me I'm wrong.
You're not.
Because you can go through history and clarify and quantify everything I just said.
Are Jews the most hated race on the planet? It just seems like they are.
The question is, are Jews a race? And they most assuredly are. Their religious beliefs and their ethnicity are geosynchronous with each other. They're symbiotic of each other. They feed off of each other. And what he said is that the Jews, their religion and their race, and then he started going into their intel and everything else. He started going into conspiracy shit. And that's where I was not happy with Joe Rogan there, because he quantified and qualified that he's anti-Zionist, and that, he's anti-Zionist, anti-Israel in that statement. He may not be anti-Jew, but he's anti-Zionist because he even felt they're very successful, and their military agencies and their influence in the world geopolitically. So he's saying all the stuff that Ian Carroll and these guys are reciting, that the Jews control the world. And in that, he's pushing the narrative for these alt-right white nationalist dip fucks. Now, there's another guy named Misfit Patriot who also said, I am completely fine with murdering babies in Gaza. And I'm like, okay, that's another conversation. That's
a bit far.
Right. And what he's saying is, well, we've had this death porn showed to us by, Gazans' babies being pulled out of buildings for a year, and nobody talks about Israel's babies. Here's what it comes down to. War needs to have lines of delineation because there is no humanity in war.
Yeah.
And if you think that there is, you've never been. There is no humanity in war. Now, you can have compassion, but compassion isn't the only indication of humanity. There needs to be reasoning with humanity. There needs to be a soul with humanity. There needs to be a love for one another and another person in humanity. And those things are absent in war because it is literally kill or be killed. So it's really, really hard for you to say, well, you're killing babies. Yes, you're absolutely right. Though that is just an outcome of war. And especially when you're fighting terrorist groups. And is it okay? No. But is it justified? No. It's not. And it wasn't justified in Vietnam. It wasn't justified with the British, who would cut women's throats and throw them into churches and light them on fire and behead and put heads on pikes of resistance. No. It wasn't okay when the Japanese would remove people's penises and their testicles and shove them down their slit throat. That would cut their hands and feet off and then throw them in tiger pits. No, not good. All of it's bad. But that is the result of war. And this is the result of unleashing a prehistoric predator that is inside all human beings. And that carnivore lives inside of all of us. That purveyor of death is inside every human being. We all know how to do it. Because if you're on a fight for your life and someone's trying to kill you, you're going to fight. You're going to do whatever you can, and you will do whatever it takes to stop them. I could never stab another human being. Try having someone rape you and a knife's next to you. You're going to stab them. And you're going to kill them. And you're not going to care about the blood, and you're not going to care about their death and the gurgling, maybe afterwards. But at that point, your instinct for survival will kick in. And that is not a pretty thing. when you demonstrate compassion. Diane Ramirez, $10. I have enjoyed watching your show evolve from good to great. You all do a wonderful job. I love Yenny. Diane, thank you.
Thank you.
That's very, very nice to say.
Sorry, you had a very long pause there.
No, I know. No, you're doing fine. Listen, I'm fired up about this subject. I don't like seeing Jordan Peterson like this, and I certainly don't like seeing Joe Rogan like this.
I don't have anything to compare it to because I've never watched him before. So I don't really have much to say.
I think people know who everyone on the show knows because they know Jordan Peterson. That was a neutered Jordan Peterson who should have been screaming from the rooftops and conveying in a way that the pompous British dick couldn't. Jordan Peterson could connect and say, we're not saying you can't have an opinion. What we're saying is that you're out here spewing rhetoric that is unfounded, untrue, and is going to get people hurt. Just because the old aunt, I wish my aunt was here because she would say it to me all the time. Matt, just because you can doesn't mean you should. And she would say to me all the time, just because you can say it doesn't mean you should say it.
Aunt Sherry.
Yeah. And she had a way of breaking people down to their lowest common denominator and just crushing them in a good way. But she would say, Matt, just because you have an opinion doesn't mean you need to express it. Sometimes you need to learn to shut up. She never said those words, but that's what she was saying. So I think I just wish, just because people have the ability doesn't mean they should necessarily say it. Be right back.
Join WimKen.com, the social media platform built for free speech and true connection. No censorship, no algorithms controlling your feed, just genuine conversations and a commitment to protecting your rights. Sign up today at WimKen.com and take back your voice. Tell them Matt and the Dumb Show sent you.
God, I don't feel good.
Okay.
Yeah, I just don't feel good. This video, 6th grade student at New Hanover County Schools was reportedly being inappropriately touched by a teacher. Here is...
have the fortune of representing several clients.
Here is the video. Oh my God. Dude, where did it go? Oh my God. It's just one of them days.
Of representing several clients who had the
Dude, expand.
Of sending their children to schools in New Hanover County. And I have the fortune of representing several clients who had the misfortune of sending their children to schools in New Hanover County. And over the course of time, they have each learned there's a lot of corruption in New Hanover County schools. We have a 6th grade student who had complained to her mother many times that her teacher, a female, was touching her inappropriately, rubbing against her breast, touching her butt, and nothing changed. The child was still complaining. Now she's crying. Now she doesn't want to go to school. So mom went to the principal again with no response and then went to the Title IX coordinator. And in the investigation, in the actual letter responding to mom, her daughter's allegations were corroborated by a bunch of the students in the class, that they spoke to the teacher and the teacher did not deny the allegations. But what they decided to do, instead of punishing the teacher, they were going to remove the child from the school. And the teacher was allowed to continue teaching. What kind of message does that send to a child? Except when someone is abusing you, you take it or you suffer.
That's Ethan's age.
Yeah, your thoughts on this?
That's completely and utterly wrong. And another corrupt school district. Just...
When did we give teachers this unfettered power to our children? When did we give them permission to alter and change and remove their rights that they possess to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, right? Because if you inundate children with this nonsense and you make them suffer through your indoctrination process and torture them and confuse them when did we give teachers these rights? We would send them to psychiatrists and we would have to sign 1 million pieces of paper for disclosure and parental rights versus children's rights and what would happen if A, B, and C happened. But with teachers, there's no prerequisite. We just hand them over and we allow these people to board our children. Are we failing as parents? Are we giving them to everything that we fear? We fear them being exposed to things we don't want them to see. And now they're seeing these things and hearing these things. And we're hearing about the sex books. And the Supreme Court finally is cracking what we've been talking about for 4 years, honey.
Mm-hmm.
When do we stop and say no more?
It's hard. It's a tough topic. It's one that unions have got to go.
Yes.
The unions have got to go. They have given the teachers way, way too much power. And what happens is these teachers hit their tenure and they are untouchable and they just want to do whatever the hell they want, and they do. And nothing happens to them. That has to stop. As soon as teachers are held responsible for their children's test scores and how their children, how the school is, how the grades are, how they graduate with reading and math. And yeah, you know what I'm talking about. They're STEM. Until they're held accountable, these teachers are just going to continue to go downhill and be more crappy and be worse. Yeah. It takes the parents as well. Like we do, we talk to our children. We have told our children what is right and what is wrong. Mm-hmm. And we have taught them from an early age, before they went to kindergarten, you know what's right, you know what's wrong. And if something is said to you in school, or you're being taught something that you are questioning and don't think you should be taught, to come to us and let us handle it. And we're open with our kids, and our kids are very open, with their school. And that's great. And we like that, but not all parents are like that. But the other thing is education is expensive. If we could, we would send our kids to private school. We cannot afford it. It is way too freaking expensive. I looked during COVID because the private schools around here in 20 to 21, that school year, they were open when the public schools did virtual. And we looked, and man, it was expensive. I mean, we were talking about $76,000 for both kids for 1 year.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's like a house, and more expensive than a house. And there's no way. And then we looked into homeschool, and holy cow, homeschool is just as expensive, because in order to do homeschool, you have to have the state approved teaching, the state approved books. Then you have to pay for the tests that the kids have to make. And then you have to pay for them to get graded by the state. I looked into it and I was like, there's no way.
Yep.
There's no way we can do this. And it leaves families with no other option but to send them to public school.
Yeah.
And now with most homes having both parents that work, and a lot of kids from a very young age are either going to the after school program or a local daycare after school and don't see their parents until 6 or 7 o'clock at night. It's eat, dinner, bath, and bed, and there's no communication, no family time. These kids don't know who to trust, and they start trusting their teachers over their parents. And I think that's where that is coming from. A lot of this is the teachers are spending more time with kids than their parents are, and the kids are bonding more with the teachers than their parents.
Yeah.
And they're starting to trust them. But it starts with the unions. Yeah. And I think that's where that starts with. And as long as we can get those teachers off tenure, I think things will start changing. But I know in LCPS, all the parents that have made a stink are starting to make a little bit of headway. It's not a huge, but it takes parents standing up for your kids' rights. And I have no problem speaking my mind when it comes to my kids, which we have done with Hayden. We took her out of that teacher's class, and I said she will no longer be in her class. And I put my foot down no matter what was said. I said, nope, that this is not happening. And I said, and my son will not be in this classroom either. So it needs to be in his file that he is not to be in her classroom if she's still teaching when he's in fifth grade. It won't happen. And he wasn't. So, but it takes parents being a parent and standing up for their kids and being their kids' best advocate, as opposed to just letting the school raise them.
Yeah, I agree completely.
It was a long diatribe. I'm sorry.
No, I want you to talk like that. There was conversation about Mike Blankman. Mike took offense to something I said, and it was very strange. He would come in the chat and talk about smoking weed and talk about cars and get the topic derailed all the time. And I didn't understand why, but every time we would come in here, he would just start talking about vehicles and cars and you know, the show isn't about vehicles and cars, and it was every couple of seconds there was just constant off-topic conversations going on, which, you know, chat is designed to be about the show, and it's not designed to, you know, be a coffee shop, so to speak, especially with off-topic stuff. And I don't mind a little bit, but it just got a little bit too much for me. And the constant talk about weed, I just got sick of it, and I didn't want to hear it anymore. If I wanted to do that, I'd go play Xbox and listen to Bong Blast at 94 and Weed Nigga 32, and, you know, hear about all their bullshit. And I have no desire to hear that. That's why I don't play Xbox Live anymore. So people always like, "Hey, come play me on Xbox." I'm like, "Oh, okay," and I just don't, because I can't stand Xbox Live. Mike's a good dude. I wish him the best, but he defriended me on Twitter and blocked me, and yeah, it happens. People get upset. They don't like it. So that's the way it is. As far as teacher unions, they are to blame. And I do mind teacher unions, because I don't believe anyone should be protected, and once they get tenure, be impossible to fire unless they diddle a kid.
But apparently even now, that's not happening.
Yeah, it sounds like it. But once again, I've got no problem with Mike Blankman. I wish him the best. He's a good dude. He said I questioned his valor or some shit, and that's completely not true. I didn't do that at all. And I was adamantly against that. I just questioned the topics and constant talk about smoking weed. It's just not the place for it. My kids are on. And you're like, well, maybe your kids shouldn't be on. Well, that's not going to happen. So we understand that some people do things that we don't agree with, and that's fine, but you don't need to put it in chat. You know what I mean? Anyway, here is a video. Folks, it is 118:30 to goal. We're not going to hit it tonight. We know that, because Olivia and I are leaving in 10 minutes. No matter, we have to leave in 10 minutes. Oh, Liv, you really?
Yes.
You couldn't have went when I was doing all that? We're ready for another video, and you got to see this one. Anyway, so I guess we'll do a commercial. So we'll be right back.
The Dumb Show is built on real conversations, raw, unfiltered, and fearless. Big Tech didn't like that. Facebook pulled our funding, tried to shut us down. But for over a year, you, our incredible viewers, have kept us going. Your support, your donations, your time, it all matters. Most of you spend 10 plus hours a week with us. Compare that to Netflix, maybe 5 hours a month. We believe we're worth that time, and we hope you do too. But listen, we don't want giving to feel like a burden. We want it to feel good. So take a second to ensure you're in a good spot. If you're in a place to give, that will be amazing. If not, just liking and sharing helps more than you know. Visit thedumbshow.com/donate. Whether it's PayPal, Venmo, or mail, every bit helps to keep us going. Dumb Nation, we appreciate you more than words can say.
Sorry, it's the old woman bladder.
Don't touch my arms when I fix my hair.
I don't have the holding power anymore.
Yeah.
The old woman bladder.
Okay, we gotta go. We don't have time.
Yep.
So, folks, if you have not had a chance to donate and you're going to do it, now's the time. If not, speak up now or forever hold your peace. Here is a video in Texas, and oh man, this is insane. These guys were working. And it looks like they were laying paneling, possibly. I don't think they're on a roof. So it looks like they're building paneling to raise a shed, or I don't know what they're doing, but it doesn't matter. It looks like Hispanic workers. But man, talk about an oh shit moment out in the middle of like the plains of Texas. And you could tell hungry skies. I mean, those are hungry skies. Those are dirt-filled skies. And watch this. This is insane. It might be a roof. It is. Tornado comes through.
Oh my God.
Of course, that fucking Mexican music is still playing, you know. Kinky corn, kinky corn, kinky corn, kinky corn. Is that crazy?
Oh my gosh.
What would you do in that situation besides kiss your pucker?
Shit a purple Twinkie?
Yeah, that's pretty.
That's about it.
That is pretty accurate. I think I would do the same.
Because you're on a roof, how are you gonna get down?
Yeah.
That's like totally scary.
No fun. Next, Donald Trump, out of his own pocket, puts 2 flags up at the White House and says they've needed it for 200 years. Put 2 giant flagpoles up. It reminds me of what we've done in pretty much every house we've been in since Bakersfield. Doing the same thing. First thing we do when we get to a new house is put up a 30-footer. Where in Texas? I don't know. I'm going to say Midland. I don't know. It's Texas. I don't know. It's a good question. Wish I would have known. Here is Donald Trump with the flagpoles. I think this is great.
Putting up a beautiful, almost 100-foot tall American flag on this side and another one on the other side. 2 flags, top of the line. And they've needed flagpoles for 200 years. It was something I've often said, you know, they don't have a flagpole per se. So we're putting one right where you saw us, and we're putting another one on the other side on top of the mounds. It's going to be 2 beautiful poles.
Mr. President on China? President Trump on China?
Paid for by Trump.
Mr. President.
Putting up a...
So paying for it out of his pocket, 2 very large flagpoles. They're not cheap. I mean, a 30-foot flagpole, 150-mile-an-hour resistant was $3,000.
About $3,500 for this.
$3,500 for bury, post, plant, and that's
and
it.
The first flag. It came with the first flag. But,
yeah,
but we've replaced it many a times since.
Oh, yeah, every 6 months like clockwork, new flag, you know, because we
with
don't...
our winds, man.
Yeah, we don't lower it. We just leave it out, and it rains. It can handle it. Folks, this is our last segment. We have to go. We got to go to watch the Avs, and this night was
You're not feeling good.
No, but isn't it always when you know you need it the most? It doesn't, because like I should have just canceled tonight. You know, it would have been so much easier. Because I felt like shit. But you know what? It is what it is. Some nights aren't as good as the others. This video is white liberal woman and Democratic Party have embraced the craziest issues and alienated even the most loyal but rational Democrats like Rahm Emanuel here is demonstrating some rational behavior in front of somebody who is absolutely unhinged. We give this a watch. I haven't had a chance to preview this video. It was a late-minute ad, but here it is.
We were really south on kitchen table issues. We weren't really good about the family room issues.
I disagree with you. I disagree with you. Okay, the only room we
were doing really well was the bathroom, and that's the smallest room in the house.
That is such bullshit. That is total bullshit. That is buying into the right-wing media narrative, and I'm so sick of Democrats like you.
Lady, first of all, your mic, it doesn't need 2 windscreens. You people drive me crazy. The reason why you sound like a shrill and a shrieking eel out for a pleasure cruise in eel-infested waters. You don't need a windscreen and a pop filter, okay? What you're doing there is like triple wrapping your dick, and you kind of look like you may have one.
You selling out and saying this. You know who talks about trans people more than anybody? MAGA. MAGA is the most genital-obsessed political party I have ever seen.
Hey, just because I made a dick joke just then, seriously? Come on, lady.
Has talked about home ownership. She talked about kitchen table issues. Trump's over there droning on about Hannibal Lecter. Are you kidding me? This is where the Democrats lose, because we're playing the game with the rule book. They've ripped the rule book up and are cramming it down everybody's throat.
Good night, Jen.
And Democrats are upset because Joe Biden pardoned his son. We got to fucking fight. They're the gender-obsessed weirdos, not us. We're the ones who fight for Social Security. We fight for Medicare. And yeah, we're not going to bully trans people. We're not going to fucking do it.
I'm
And
not
if you
again.
want
I'm
to
not.
do it,
Look,
fine.
hey, let me say this: as mayor, 2016, I dealt with the bathroom issue. It's just not my. It's not my most important issue. It was dealt with, and I appropriately dealt with marriage equality, as I said.
Well, it's
But
certainly important to the Republicans. For me, it's just important not to bully them. And I think this is the death
I agree with that.
knell
I'm not
of the
disagreeing.
Democrats.
You-
It
No.
really, it upsets me. It upsets me so much because
I
we
can tell.
live here in this red state, and you see the damage of it. When I see politicians that are supposed to be leaders in the Democratic Party buy into the narrative that Republicans have defined us by, instead of fighting and saying, you're the weirdos that are obsessed with it. Yeah, we're not going to bully some trans kid. And we buy into their narrative. It just, it's why I think we lose. And I have to live in a state where women rape.
Oh, geez. Shut the fuck up, lady. Seriously. Shut the fuck up.
Someone needs to tell her that her Botox has gone a little too far.
Call it being sick or call it that we didn't hit goal and the show cost us money tonight, but go fuck yourself. It's not that we talk about trans people. It's that you draw the lines of insanity in the proverbial sand and walk up to it and say, trans people can be women. Men can be pregnant. Women can be men. Children deserve to pick their gender. It's not sexual mutilation. It's gender reassignment surgery. You draw these lines of just complete batshit crazy psychosis, and you put the line there and you say nobody crosses it. And if you cross it, it's because you're transphobic. Then we talk about it because we're not okay with it. And you're like, we've moved on.
Yeah.
We've already fucking declared that these are the rules and you may not cross them. And we're like, there's no legislation. There was no conversation. Nobody agreed to this. And then you go ahead and turn around us that we're obsessed with your cock and your pussy. We don't care about your vagina. We don't care about your penis. We care that you're flinging it around our kids. We want you to stay away from our children. We want you to keep this out of classrooms. We want you to stop lying to people and telling them that their white fragility is something they should be guilty of and that they're going to be masochists towards anybody but white people, that they're going to be racist their entire life, that they have unconscious bias, that they're abusers and sexualized women, and that they're chauvinists. We don't want to hear this shit. But you have walked to the line, drawn it, and now you say, like Gandalf, thou shalt not pass. And we're not done with the fucking conversation. So you spin it around. It's like when you call people racists. You want to shut down the dialogue. So this fucking crazy bitch, fuck you. I hope you stand too close to a microwave and your face melts. I'm sorry.
That's what it looks like.
Sorry, Connor. Sorry, Connor.
He likes your rants.
Sorry, Connor. I'm upset. I'm upset. I mean, how dare you talk to another person like that? Talk to me like, come on my show, you DuPont plastic. She looks like, you know, she looks like Barbra Streisand was turned into a Barbie doll. Look at her face.
Yeah. Also,
you could drive a truck through her eyebrows. Look at that. Hideous.
It's why can't I think of it? It's a Star Trek reference. What was Spock?
Oh, she looks like a Romulan, right? Or a Klingon.
Klingon.
Well, yeah, but she's got the, yeah. I just can't stand.
Not Klingon. It's whatever. Spock's not a Klingon.
Like Warg.
What race was Spock?
Oh, he was a Vulcan.
There we go. She looks Vulcan.
But she kind of looks like Warg, the Klingons, because she's got the, you know, the furrow brow and she's all pissed and got those lines up in here. I'm sorry to cuss. I'm sorry to be so vulgar.
It doesn't happen much anymore. But when you're passionate, I get it because I freak out over certain issues too.
James just said goal is in the mail. Good night, Gums. Paul says, wish I could hit it for us, but no, Paul, you're fine. He said it's in the mail. So minus 21. Do 21 from 139. Do $21 minus 21.10. 139.40 minus 21.10. What? That's 118.30.
118.30.
So do 118.30 from 300, and that's what James just gave us.
Okay, 181.
Put it in there.
Okay.
James deserves the recognition. Thank you, James. Hi, Sheila. It's okay that you're late.
James Cody?
Yes.
Okay.
James, you're amazing. Thank you, guys. Listen, it's not about that. Worf. I thought it was Warg. Warg. Sorry, dog. Warg is a Warg Rider, which is World of Warcraft and Dungeons and Dragons. I'm sorry, I'm mixing up my fantasy and sci-fi. It just comes down to this. I don't mean to be so vulgar. Thank you, James. I don't mean to be so vulgar. I don't mean to be such an angry person. But people like that remind me of my mom. And you don't get to go up here and say 9 months of abortion is absolutely fine because it's not a baby, it's a fetus. Ah, not a boo-boo, stick your head in doo-doo. Ah, blah, 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 blah. I got a force field times 10. You're a little petulant fucking turd. And I wanted to punch you in the face in the sandbox, and I want to punch you in the twat now. I don't like that woman. I don't like people like that. I can't stand people like that. This is a person on your own side. He's a Democrat. He has an opinion. Shut up and listen to him. But if anyone spoke to me like that, I would trust me when I say this. I have a vocabulary that can be fairly offensive. And if this woman wants to get down to brass tacks of insults, Olivia will tell you, I have no problem undressing people verbally. And I would make this woman feel like she was being physically abused over a mic, because I just can't stand bullies. If you can't have the common decency to invite a guest to a show and let them talk, even when you disagree with them, you're a horrible human being. Warg Dogs is from Lord of the Rings. It's also from Warg Riders or World of Warcraft, and also Dungeons and Dragons. Wargs are not it's like trolls and gnomes and everything else. It's all pretty much universal. Anything else? Liv, give us our 1 minute. Worf is a Klingon. I know.
Yes.
He's not a Vulcan. I know that. That's what I said.
Thank you for everyone who joined us, and donations. Every dollar helps, so we appreciate everyone who donated tonight.
Yes.
Thank you very much. And it'll be you and Leroy at 7 tomorrow.
And then Friday, what are we going to be?
Just me and you on 7 o'clock on Friday.
It is. And Amy is on vacation. She'll be back next week. So not a lot of Leroy and Amy this week. Leroy should be here tomorrow unless he has something going on. We will tell him. Topics we missed tonight, we're going to go watch our hockey game. I want to say I appreciate everybody. We appreciate everybody being on. Thank you for helping us hit goal. We knew it was a tight night tonight. James, you didn't have to, and we appreciate you did. We love you for that, and thank you for that. Folks, have a wonderful night. We'll talk to you tomorrow. We'll have a recorded show in the AM, and then I will have this posted on the podcast for you all. I think everyone else. Yes, she does look like E. Jean Carroll. I wonder what color she paints her rocks. And you know what's great? She's wearing white like most Democrats, and it's a nod back to her Klan days. So congratulations. This is a very ugly person, and she's got makeup on. And I'm just saying, I can't imagine with the makeup off. Do you remember Katie?
Yes.
Yeah. Like Katie without makeup. Because I saw her without makeup. I'm like, oh my God. What happened? That's rude. All right, folks. We'll see you tomorrow. God bless. Thanks for talking. Thanks for watching.
Thank you so much, everyone.
See ya. Bye-bye.
Night, y'all. Oh, hang on 1 second.
Wait. What?
Last minute, 508 Jay Fisher from Rumble just donated $2. So just wanted to.
What? I can't hear you.
508 Jay Fisher from Rumble just donated $2. So
Jay,
just wanted
thank
to
you
say
for your.
Thank you. Have a good night and feel better.
Thank you, Jay, for donating. We love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you so much. Good night.
Night, y'all.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me Show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, and Olivia. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on all major social media channels at The Dumb Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.